afternoon, welcome to another weekly reading vlog. It is Monday and today I have got the day off work. So you can bet that I have had a really productive start to the day. I needed to take a day off because I had one left before the end of January when our holiday at work starts again. So I thought, why not take a random Monday off? So this morning I got up, listened to an audiobook, which I finished a book, another book, so I finished 2 books this morning already. On Monday, what a great start to the reading vlog. Then I cleaned the whole flat, then I repotted some plants, did a workout, got ready, had some lunch, and now here we are. It is 2:38, so the afternoon is running away from me already, but I've got a couple of more things planned for the day. I've got to film some videos, and then I have tonight the Celebration of YA event that I'm hosting happening, which is wild. I'm really excited for this event, but also there is like, it's a lot, it's a big event. There is some really big name authors attending and I am hosting it and that's just bonkers. So that's gonna be really amazing. That's on at 7 o'clock tonight. And the books that I finished that I'm going to tell you about are the books that I was reading that some of the authors that are attending had written, because there are 4 authors attending. Karen M. McManus and Holly Jackson were both authors that I'd already read all their works by. And then we had Juno Dawson and Kaylin Bayron, who I hadn't read but did own the books of. So the books that I have finished so far this week on Monday already, look at how productive I've been. The first book that I finished was Wonderland, which I shall put a picture of here because I was reading it as a Kindle copy. This is an Alice in Wonderland retelling and it is a lot. There is a lot going on in this. It definitely has trigger warnings for drug use, including like date rape type drug use, suicide, sexual assault. There is a lot that this book deals with, but my god, it blew my mind. It was fantastic. It felt so atmospheric. It felt like you were going on this trippy, weird journey with Alice into Wonderland, which is actually a party in this adaptation. And it just was bloody fantastic. I absolutely adored the way that Juno Dawson wrote this book and the way that she managed to cram so much into such a small amount of pages without it feeling rushed, without it feeling too much. It just felt like I was totally absorbed in it, and I gave it 5 stars. So I think that might be my first non-graphic novel to receive 5 stars for the year, which is exciting. And that was also my 12th book of January. How have I finished 12 books this month already? I've now finished 13. That's just bonkers. I've never read this many in a month before. Like, this is insane. I think this attributes itself as well to the fact that I have been listening to more audiobooks and also reading some non-fiction as well. So I've been really changing about what I'm reading and not just typecasting one specific book that I'm going to be reading for a month. So on top of finishing Wonderland today, I've also finished Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron. This is a Cinderella retelling, kind of. It's more inspired by the story of Cinderella, I suppose. It's set 200 years after Cinderella has died. And it follows a main character who is a real strong feminist main character. She is really fighting for the rights of the women in this book because basically it's a patriarchal system and the men rule everything and the women don't get a say. And she is not okay with that because basically the main thing that's the issue in this book is that there's a ball in which the men pick the women they're going to marry, and they can pick more than one, and it's nothing is down to the woman, and it's just horrible. And our main character actually doesn't want to be chosen at all because she likes girls, and she has somebody that she cares very deeply for and she wants to be with them, but obviously because they are 2 women they can't be in that kind of position because of the society that they live in, and it's all about her going on a kind of journey to free everyone from this horrible patriarchal system that they're living in. I really enjoyed how this entangled feminism into a YA contemporary. At times it did feel a little bit like I'm the different, like the stereotype of like the chosen girl, there's no other girls like me. It felt like it was bowing a little bit to that at times, but I did really appreciate what it was doing still as a feminist piece. I gave this one 3 stars because it didn't completely blow my mind, but I certainly enjoyed it and would read more from Kaylin Bayron, and I'm very excited to speak to her about this later today because I really want to talk more about the feminist side of it and how she entangled that into it, because I think she did that very well. The only reason that it got 3, which is still a really good rating for me, but the only reason it got 3 from me I think is because it just didn't completely blow my mind. Also, this kind of crossed the barrier between, this is not a contemporary, did I say it was contemporary? I might have said that. It's a fantasy, but it's also majority reads not as a fantasy. So it's kind of a cross between not a fantasy, but I don't know what, and a fantasy. If I said it was contemporary earlier, that's not correct, but yes. So this got 3 stars. And then that leads me to my current read, which I am back to Malibu Rising. I put this down last week in favour of picking up those two books because I know I needed to read them for this event. I have got about 150 pages left of Malibu Rising. I'm really enjoying it. I'm just not wanting to rush it because, as I said, this is one of the huge releases for me and I really don't want to feel like I read it too fast. So saying that, tomorrow the Mask Falling comes out, which is the 4th book in the Bone season by Samantha Shannon, and I would really like to start that tomorrow. So I don't know, what's happened here? I don't know if that means I'm going to be putting Malibu Rising down again or what I'm doing. I don't know. I don't normally do this. I normally just read a book and finish it and then read the next book. But because this one is special, I feel like it's easier to be able to dive in and out of it. I don't know. But I really, really want to read The Mask Falling when it comes out. I have a couple of bits I need to get done today, but I did so much yesterday that I am freer today. So I might read a fair bit of this, although as soon as I say that, that probably means I'm not going to at all. But anyway, those are my updates. Welcome to a new weekly reading vlog. I have a feeling this is going to be a productive reading week. I think I'm going to read a lot, maybe, or just really enjoy what I'm reading. I don't know, but starting the week on finishing 2 books already is already setting me off to a good start, so. Okay, it is under an hour, by like 1 minute before I go live for this event. I'm so excited, but I'm also like, nervous isn't the right word, but like, I always just think in my head like, oh my god, what if my internet crashes? What if I just say something completely stupid? Because obviously when I make YouTube videos, I can edit it out. And when I do live streams, it's usually either on my own page or a friend's page. And it feels a little bit more relaxed, whereas I am hosting an event with actual authors who I think are amazing, and I've been kind of rehearsing what I want to say and testing it out and doing like a pretend call for it and things. So I'm feeling ready. I just kind of, I was thinking, do I eat now? Do I not eat now? I decided not to because I thought it might be too rushed because we've got a run through at 6:15. Oh, it's all very professional and proper, isn't it? Do you want to see my setup? It's very exciting. So this is my setup. I've got my ring light, which isn't even going to be directly on me. I really should get a ring light for my webcam. But this is what we're dealing with. I'm very ready. I've got it all up and going. Just need to join the call at 6:15 and I will be good to go. This is it. This will be the shot. What do we think? There will be less yellow light on me and more ring light. Hang on, let's get it there. Oh, there we go. See? It's a bit better. It's kind of a bit bright. We'll work it out. But I have got 10 minutes, so I think I'm going to try and read a little bit and then join. I've had a really good day. I feel very fulfilled by today. So it's been a really good start to the week. Very positive Monday, and I'm excited. So I'll either let you know how it goes later or I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow. It's over! Ah, that went so well. I'm just making myself some pasta now because it's 8:30 and I am hungry. But oh my god, that went so well. I love doing things like that. Public speaking has always been something that I've really enjoyed. So I can't wait to be able to do things like that in actual locations with people rather than online. It's great doing online though, but oh, I feel such a rush. I really enjoyed that, chatting with the authors, and just, it went really smoothly. There wasn't any hiccups. I feel really, really good. What great start to the week. I am loving Monday right now. I'm feeling fantastic. Maybe I should just take every Monday off work because honestly this has just been such a boost. So I'm feeling really, really good. I'm sending you positive vibes. They're coming through. Are you getting them? Because I'm gonna go make pasta now. Good morning. Happy Tuesday and happy Mask Falling release day. I'm in a bookish dilemma because I'm obviously currently reading Malibu Rising, which I kind of wanted to have finished by today, but it's just not happening. So I might be able to finish it later, but it's just not the kind of book you can read fast. And I really want to pick up The Mask Falling because I've got it on my Kindle. I pre-ordered it ready to go because my Goldsboro copy isn't going to be here for a while. And now I'm like, do I just pick it up? Do I read 2 books at once? Because that is not normally what I go for. That is a chaotic situation in my bookish brain. And I don't know. I'm really liking Malibu Rising, so I don't want to keep putting it down, but at the same time I really do want to pick up The Mask Falling and be reading that right now because it's release day, and I got ready for release day by reading all the books, and I'm excited. It's also release day for A Vow So Bold and Deadly, which is exciting. So there's an event tonight that Bridget Kemmerer and Samantha Shannon are doing together that I will be watching, so talking about both books. So again, I really want to read it. I feel like after the event I'm definitely going to be thinking I've got to pick it up now, so I don't know. But anyway, it's Tuesday morning and I just got some book mail. Books came in the mail. Hey! This is a book by Germaine Greer and this is The Whole Woman. It is a secondhand, older copy. This is actually a copy that my mum has at home as well, but I wanted to own my own. So you'll see that I've recently become interested in reading a little bit more non-fiction if you've watched any of my previous vlogs. Read a couple of feminist pieces recently that has got me feeling inspired to read a couple more. So this in the blurb describes it as the book that Germaine Greer swore or vowed she would never write. And the contents for this basically goes through all the topics that it covers, and it covers body, mind, love and power. And if you know who Germaine Greer is, then you'll know that she writes a lot about feminism and women and the body. And if you don't know who she is, then that's what she writes about. So I'm very intrigued to be able to dip into this one and learn a little bit more from her, because I've never read anything from her before, but I've always known her name and known that she writes really strongly on these kind of topics. So intrigued to dive into that one. So basically that's my dilemma of the day. Back at work today as well. Happy Tuesday. Hello, it's Wednesday? More books have been finished. Yes! So, last night I finished 2 books, which means I've read 4 books so far this week, which is kind of another good week potentially, because we're only on Wednesday, so this could only get better. First off, I finished Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I feel like I was reading this forever. I think I read it in 10 days, which was a while, but bear in mind I put it down a little bit in the middle to pick up some other books. Gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. Wasn't entirely sure what it would come out as when I ran it through Corpile, because the fact that it wasn't fast-paced and action-packed is something that I dislike about it. However, it's also something I don't expect from a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. So if it was any other book, I would maybe think it would come out more of a 3-star, but because I know Taylor Jenkins Reid writes about the characters, and when you pick up one of her books that's what you're going for, I didn't expect it to be heavy on the action side of things. It really focused on building a history for the characters that we met and then showing where they were now and what path they were going to take in life, and it looked at the responsibilities that parents have and how families are formed and what a family really is and things like that, but also the notion of forgiveness as well. It was very clever, all the different things it looked at. It's not my favourite Taylor Jenkins Reid book, but I did still enjoy it because I think it has some really lovely characters. At one point there were so many characters going on that I was just like, who are you all? Explain yourself. And I think that was the point, because it was meant to be a very chaotic environment, so I think that Taylor Jenkins Reid did that well, because she was introducing so many characters and I was just like, I don't know who everyone is anymore apart from the main, like, 5 or 6 people that we've referenced a couple of times. So overall, yes, I liked it. I wish it was a bit quicker, but I feel like it was an achievement to finish it. It was one of those books that I just feel like I was reading forever. So yes, that can go back on the shelf. Right, no idea where I got to there because my mum rang me in the middle, so I'll just start from the fact that I told you I finished Malibu Rising, told you about that, then I decided to pick up another book. So I have somehow read 4 books this week and 15 books this year. Now, I said in a video about my reading goals that I wasn't going to read quantity over quality. I was going to, well, not that I'm doing that, but like I was not going to put so much pressure on how many books I read. However, I think for January, because I've somehow read so many so far, it's making me want to keep reading more, because my brain is just like, go on, see how many you can read, go on, give it a go. So I'm just like, okay, I will do this. So I seem to have forgotten that for January because I'm reading a crap ton. 15 books in. I don't know how this has happened, but the book that I picked up last night as like a little in-between read, because I wanted to start The Mask Falling, but I also just wanted to have another book read, was Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Osman. This is currently the most up-to-date version of Heartstopper that is out, but I think the fourth one comes out, I want to say in May, which I am buzzing for, because honestly, my relationship with this series, I've read the first one when it came out, what was that, about 2 or 3 years ago? And I thought it was fine, but it didn't blow me away. I knew that everyone was really obsessed with it and really liked Nick and Charlie, but like, I just thought it was okay. Cue my reading taste changing and what I enjoy changing, and also cue me reading more books like this and understanding the genre a bit more. I then picked back up Heartstopper #1 about 2 or 3 weeks ago, read it again, loved it. The reason I picked it back up is because over the Christmas period I had read Nick and Charlie and This Winter, which are the 2 novellas in that world, and I really, really liked reading about their story. So, picked up Volume 2 within the same week of Volume 1, really liked that one, and then I thought I would wait to read this one for a couple of weeks later, so I wasn't just reading them all in one space of time, and I think this one might be my favourite one, because they go to France, they go to Paris, and funnily enough The Mask Falling is also set in France, and I went straight into reading that after reading this, so I was like, oh, okay, don't put Nick and Charlie in the setting of The Mask Falling, that would be a very different story. But I think these books are so wonderful. They talk very openly and honestly about the experiences the characters have. There is such a wide range of diverse characters that I just think there is so much included in these books for so many different people. They also talk about mental health, they talk about the process in this one of coming out as well, and honestly I just absolutely adore them. So all of these books I think now have a 5-star rating from me. This one certainly does. I loved it, I loved it, loved it, loved it, and I very much enjoyed, I'm not going to be able to find the page now, but the meta level of the fact that the book Radio Silence by Alice Osman is featured within the pages of this book. One of the characters is reading it on a coach, and I don't know why I'm attempting to look for it because this just is not going to happen, but she's reading it on the coach and it's Radio Silence, which was, yes, ha, I found it, okay. See? She's reading it. It's so meta! So I really enjoyed that. And then yeah, as I said, on my Kindle I'm reading The Mask Falling because my copy is on the way from Goldsboro and apparently they take a little longer to arrive. So I pre-ordered it on my Kindle. I am not very far in at all. How far am I? I've been reading it this morning. I got up a little bit early to read this morning. 12% through, 45 pages in. Weirdly, my Kindle has suddenly for this done this thing where it's telling me I'm on page 5 of the Roman numerals for 4. Why? I don't know. But I'm enjoying it so far. This is the 4th book in the Bone season, but it's also like not the 4th book because there was a novella in the middle of this one and the song Rising that gives you a little bit of a setup for this one. So really enjoying it so far. I watched the Bridget Kemmerer and Samantha Shannon event last night in which they were both talking about their releases because Vow came out yesterday as well, and generally just felt really encouraged to both read and write. So feeling very motivated. Let's do this Wednesday. I've also got a live later on, so that's exciting. It's a busy Wednesday, basically, and I'm excited to crack on. It's after work on Wednesday, and I finished another book. What? Book I finished is A Cult Mist of Fury, which I have been reading since, like, the middle to start of January, so I feel like it was just about time that I finished it. Don't know what's happening with my hand. I seem to be booping, boop, boop. Anyway, it was a 4-star read, as it was last time. The ending shooketh me. I forgot the way it ended, and the way that lines were delivered, and just, Chapter 55, sexcellent? That was going to be excellent / sublime. Turned out being sexcellent, which actually is accurate for chapter 55, so that was fun. That was fun. Waiting on an Amazon order at the moment. The Amazon order is kind of a smoothie maker because I'm trying to eat a little bit better, just a little squidge, you know, just a bit. And I figured a fun way to do that would be to make myself some smoothies with some frozen fruit, so it was something nice, but also something healthy. And yes, I know that fruit have high sugar content, but a lot better than me eating some of the other stuff that I nibble away on. So, waiting for that to happen. The live is happening in some time, like an hour. I've just said I might be healthy, but I might make some popcorn for the live because I had dinner at lunchtime because the live is at 6 and I don't normally eat until like 6:37ish and I didn't want to rush to eat beforehand, so I didn't. So I may just get some popcorn ready for the live, and I'm definitely going to be reading The Mask Falling now because now that's the only book I'm reading, although I'm totally going to be starting Akawa. A Court of Wings and Ruin. Here, this one, that one. I'm starting that tonight or tomorrow, I guess, probably tomorrow. Depends. I tend to listen a lot when I'm walking. Oh, the lighting is really bad. Whee. I tend to listen a lot when I'm walking, or I listen when I am driving, or when I'm cleaning. And I don't have to do any of those things for the rest of today, so I need to stop. Wait, what is this hand motion? Is this like how I express my emotion now, through my hand? Just get a sock puppet. Book's Nest and the Sock Puppet. Would you watch that show? I don't know what's happened to me. Haven't seen Another Human for a couple of days, and apparently like 3 days is my limit as to when I just go insane after not seeing Another Human for a while. Also, do you like my necklace? It's a Hobbit door. Hang on. See? How cute it opens too. Hang on, let me open it for you. I mean, you're meant to probably put something in it, but I got that from Comic-Con years ago, so don't ask me where it's from because I don't know the name of the shop, which is probably bad of me. But hey, I'm gonna sit and read. Might get myself a drink for later. All the possibilities are endless. Good morning. It is Thursday, and I have realised that I've lost track of what day it is this week because I didn't work on Monday. So I started my working week on Tuesday, which means that this is actually Wednesday in my head, but it's not because it's Thursday, so that's even better because it's closer to Friday. Logic. Anyway, hey, I'm a little bit dazed in the brain today. We had the live last night that was hosted on Spoopy Hole's channel, and it was really great. It was really good fun. We went on for about 4.5 hours, and I think you don't realise at the time, but when you come off, you're like, wow, I'm tired, because it's quite a lot to be live for that, to be on for that long, like physically switched on as a human being and like, yes, which is fine. I love doing it. It makes me feel really energized to do that kind of thing. I consider myself an extroverted person, so talking to humans and doing that kind of thing definitely makes me feel more alive. But afterwards I was like, and bedtime. So I woke up really tired this morning because I was also reading before bed because I'm reading The Mask Falling. It's really good so far. I'm really enjoying Paige's dry wit. The lines that she comes out with are just fantastic, and I'm really enjoying how we get to experience this side of her still, like, you know, the way that everything she's been through as a character. I really feel like this has been a story for her, and yet we still get to see the humour that she portrays to take everything in her stride and just be a great lead character. I really like reading about her, and I am enjoying this so far. I am about 110 pages in, which is 24% through. In my brain, I thought, well, if I could try and read 25% a day, I would like that. 24%, pretty close. I couldn't quite make it up to 25% because my eyes were shutting last night, and I was just like going through like every page. I was like, is it 25%? Yeah. So how is this such a long percent? But I am really liking it, and I think it's going to be a really enjoyable read. I've got Lauren from Fiction Team on the end of the phone being like, tell me when you get to this bit, or like tell me, you know, what bits you're at, and tell me your favourite lines and stuff. So I've been highlighting my favourite lines, so I think I'm gonna give her a voice message later and just be like, these are my favourite lines so far, part 1. Obviously, I did also say that I finished Akamath last night, and I tried to get Akawa this morning, but SCRIBD is doing that thing where it makes me have to wait. So I had to wait till Saturday, which isn't that long, but I don't like not having an audiobook on the go because I just tend to listen quite a lot throughout the day when I'm doing little bits, like when I put my makeup on, or if I'm doing washing or going for a walk, cleaning, anything like that. So I thought, crap, I don't have an audiobook. So I thought I need something that is shorter, that I know is physically doable to listen to by Saturday. And I'm pretty sure that in my Audible library I had Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Rennie Edo-Lodge, and I checked and I did have it, so I just downloaded that one, and that one is, I think it's about 5.5 hours, so I thought I can absolutely definitely do that. I mean, I've seen the book in person and it's quite a thin book, but I'm also aware that it's going to be a lot in the book. It's not fiction, it's a non-fiction book. If you're not aware of what it is, Rennie Edo-Lodge is a really fantastic woman that has, I think it started off as a blog post that she wrote about why she's no longer talking to white people about race, and I'm not going to go massively into the reasons why, because read the book, because it's really interesting so far from what I've read the preface and half of chapter 1. Basically, it started off as this blog post with her various different reasons and the dismissals and the way that people think that they're not being racist but are, in the way that they react to things, and the way that equality actually is working, and being realistic about things like that. So she wrote this essay or blog post, published it, and then she said in the preface of the book that she wrote that and literally called it Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race. And she said all she's done since then is talk to white people about race because of the success of that blog post that was since then turned into a book. She said she's talked at like lectures at festivals and things like that. So I've not really got too far into it so far, but I don't feel like enjoying is the right word for this kind of thing, because it's an educational platform for something that I feel like should have been included as a staple in all our experiences growing up anyway. Rennie states that was born and raised in London, and she talks about what she learned on her degree and how that educated her with things that were happening in Liverpool with ports and things for slave trade. And I literally, as I said, I'm only right at the start of it, but the fact that she was getting those lectures at university and things, obviously at university you're studying much more specific topics. I don't remember at school getting taught about slave trade or about black history. We might have, but I am so sure that we didn't, because history was one of my favourite lessons, and I pretty much in my head have a memory of like all the modules we studied, and nothing was dedicated to that kind of thing. And I'm thinking, why did, like, we learned about the Tudors, we learned about Hitler's Germany, about Vietnam War, World War One, World War Two. It seemed like we were more focused on like the modern history, not that the Tudors is modern history, but obviously between the 1500s and the 1800s in Britain, we were getting involved in the slave trade, which is absolutely horrendous. And I don't know why my education at school didn't extend to that as much, and it was very much left as a thing that you needed to educate yourself on, which at the age you are, you don't know as much about the world at that point, and also social media wasn't as big as a thing, so there weren't as many voices that were so easily accessible about this kind of thing. So I am really interested to read Rennie's book and see how she talks about this, because everyone says this is a brilliant book. As I said, I've been trying to read more non-fiction at the moment because I feel like I want to be able to base a lot more of the things I say off of an actual educated reason. Not everything, like we're still going to talk about how smutty the Akamath scenes can be, but I like the fact that I can build up more of an intelligent perspective, and I'm also massively one of the kind of people that if I'm going to talk confidently about something, I definitely want to have my own words to talk about it and not just regurgitate something else. So like when I'm talking about the feminist stuff, I want to be able to know what I'm talking about rather than just regurgitating what someone else has said. And I also think that obviously when it comes to things that are prevalent around us in the world, such as the Black Lives Matter movement and feminism and just so many important things, I think we really owe it to ourselves, but we also owe it to future generations to just constantly learn from new materials that are out there. And being a reader, I enjoy consuming books, and there are many, many books, so I'm going to continue to enjoy non-fiction. I don't think it's going to become a massive part of what I read, like more so than fiction, but I certainly would like to try and read at least one non-fiction a month. I hope that's something that's feasible. This will be my second Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race. That's my second non-fiction, and then I'm hoping I can squidge in a feminist essay that I got before the end of the month. I made a smoothie, kind of. Did not go as planned. I don't like bits, and all I had to make it with was frozen strawberries and frozen raspberries, so... Oh, I can feel the bits. Okay, the issue I had... This is my blender. Bought it specifically so it could crush ice. It did not crush the ice, so I had to remove the ice. So I had to put water in instead. So this is both watery and also not in the middle. I don't know what I've created, and I feel like I need to eat it with a spoon, or drink it with a spoon. I don't know if it's eating or drinking. It was my first attempt. I have got proper stuff coming in my food shop that will allow me to actually make proper smoothies, but this was all I had. Didn't anticipate how messy that would be. It went everywhere. Like, I obviously had the lid on that was fine, but somehow it just went all over me, all over the floor. Like, I don't know what happened. It was a mess, okay? But I've got some post. So let's put that over there for the minute and just, oh, my phone's ringing. I'm pretty sure that for the last like 2 days in a row, when I've been filming the intro to the vlog for the day, my mum has rang me in the middle of it, so apologies. But let's unbox some, what I assume is books came in the mail. Hey, there's a couple of different packages to unbox. I'm excited. I made an order from Waterstones recently and it has shipped insanely fast, so I'm going to assume that's what this is. So first up, I have bought Herland by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. This also includes the yellow wallpaper. Herland is a book that I was reading about within Mary Beard's essay Women in Power, because she talks about the fact that this was a really unique piece of fiction written at the time, and it was basically about an island or land of women, a community of women living in perfect isolation in the Amazon, away from men basically. And they've somehow been able to reproduce just women. They're free from disease, poverty, and the weight of tradition. All alone, the women have created a society of calm and prosperity, a feminist utopia that dares to threaten the very concept of male superiority. And then naturally, 3 American men discover this community. I'm very intrigued by this. I don't think it's going to be a light, easy, fun read, but I don't think it's going to be overly heavy either. It's quite short. The actual book itself is 2 books, so I'm just trying to find where one book ends and the other begins. I've also been told this is quite questionable. Like, there's a lot in it that you'll be like, oh, is that okay? But again, I am intrigued because I think it's like an interesting classic piece of literature to read, particularly looking at studying the feminism stuff and things at the moment as well, and understanding more of that. It's blurbed on the back as a utopian novel by a feminist set in the Amazon rainforest, and it is funny. So maybe it isn't as heavy as I'm thinking, but yeah, I just kind of thought, sod it, why not? If Mary Beard's talking about it and says it's an interesting observational book to read, why not? Then we have got the big package, woo! This I'm excited about. Oh my god, one of the books in here is so much bigger than I expected. Ah! Okay, this next book I am quite excited about and is way bigger than I expected and has sprayed pages. I didn't expect that. This is Strange Antics by Clement Knox, and this is a history of seduction. I am so intrigued by this. Ashley recommended this to me from A Frolic Through Fiction and I knew how to get it. The top line of the blurb says, "When is seduction about more than just sex?" In this brilliantly original history, Clement Knox explores this question as well as the philosophy, legality, politics, art and literature of a force that underwrites our world. This sounds so interesting. In the first history of its kind, Knox charts the many guises of seduction from the Garden of Eden to the world of Me Too. It sounds like a really interesting look back on seduction throughout history, and I also think that that is the most stunning cover. I love that so much. I am very excited to be able to read this, and also the fact that it's got yellow pages. So we've got 2 kind of like, well, this is a fiction but based on the fact I wanted to read it because of a non-fiction, and then we've got another non-fiction, so I really am continuing down that thread. Then I also got 2 other books. One of them I deliberately got and the other one Waterstones made me do it. So the one I deliberately bought is Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power. Rory Power is the author of Wilder Girls, which I thought was brilliantly written. The isolation and desolation in that book just felt so poignant that I had to read more by her, so I picked up this one. I know that this one is a thriller. The back gives you a very, very short paragraph saying, "From the New York Times bestseller, author of Wilder Girls, comes a twisty and creepy thriller that questions what we know of our own identities and how far the closest of us will go to protect the truth." I think there might be a blurb on the inside. Yeah. So the blurb is, "Ever since Margot was born, it's been just her and her mother. No answers to Margot's questions, no history to hold on to, just the 2 of them, stuck in their rundown apartment, struggling to get along. But that's not enough for Margot. She wants a family. She wants a past. When she finds a photograph pointing her to a town called Faline, she leaves, but when Margot gets there, it's not what she bargained for. Margot's mother left for a reason, but was it to hide her past, or was it to protect Margot from what's still there?" Sounds intriguing, and as I said, Wilder Girls was really good, so I'm very keen to read more by Rory Power. Then, as I was checking out with those 3 books, Waterstones was like, "Hey, we've got this really special, great looking book that was a really fantastic book last year, and it's £10, it's reduced, would you like to buy it?" And I was like, okay. I've been looking at this for ages, thinking how absolutely stunning it is. I bought Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. This is so not the kind of book I would usually pick, but this won the Waterstones Book of the Year for 2020, and this cover is beautiful. This is the Waterstones special edition. So I thought, why not go for it? From what I know, this is the fictionalized story of how the character Hamlet got his name, I think. So I Honestly don't know when I will pick it up, but I wanted to buy a copy because I thought if this is the Waterstones book of the year and I'm trying to expand my reading taste a bit more, maybe pushing myself to read something like this, which is generally recognised as being brilliant, is the right way to go. So that's my little book haul. So books came in the mail, hey! I didn't do the song, did I? Oh, well, let's do it now. Book mail, book mail, book mail, book mail, books came in the mail, hey! I spelled it the wrong way around. That way as well. I think out of all of those, I'm most excited by this one, purely because I just can't stop looking at it. If there was the choice between hardback and paperback, and the hardback was reduced to £12.99, I was like, yes. So it is mine now. Right, currently having a space issue. So I've got what I would kind of consider a feminist shelf that's building / historical / just my non-fiction shelf that's not my big hardback books. I've got a lot of big hardback non-fiction books that are like look at art or look at film and things like that. I don't know how to make this fit. I do have more shelf space, but I don't want to have to mix these books up, because also I really want this cover facing out. This art is just beautiful. This is the birth of Venus, who emerged fully formed from the sea, I think. She's in a clamshell in the full picture and there's like people bowing down around her. So I want this face out. I think this is by Botticelli, does it say? I want the birth of Venus faced out because it's pretty, but I don't know how to make it work. Also, I now have another feminist book to add into the mix because I was just unboxing for you guys. I was like, right, cool, we'll do this unboxing. This is great. Did the unboxing, went back to work. The door went, there was a package. I unboxed it. There was a book inside that was on my wish list and I don't know how it's arrived. Well, I do now, but it's Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall. And on the front it says, "Notes from the Women White Feminists Forgot." And there's two quotes that I think are really prominent on the front of this. One's from Pandora Sykes. It says, "Every woman should read it." And the other is from Elizabeth Gilbert. And it says, "My wish is that every white woman who calls herself a feminist will read this book." As a white woman who calls myself a feminist and also as someone that's finding this fascinating, I can't ignore that quote. I have to read this book. This was recommended to me by Ashley from Frolic Through Fiction. Again, another one recommended by her. We basically just had a whole conversation about these kind of books. But this looks really interesting and it looks like it's covering a lot more encompassed within feminism that sometimes people can skirt over. The contents page of any book like this I find is always really interesting because it gives you an idea as to what, obviously, it gives you an idea as to what you're going to be looking at. There's a lot on the contents, so I'll just read you out a couple. But we've got gun violence, hunger, it's raining patriarchy, how to write about black women, pretty for a ... that looks like a really interesting chapter. The oh god, I can't speak now. The fetishization of fierce, missing and murdered, race, poverty and politics. So it talks about all of that within encompassing into this feminist text, which looks super interesting. But anyway, point being, this just randomly came. I was like, where's this come from? And this has really kindly been sent with a little note from Lily _bug on Instagram. And it says, "Hi Beth, I found your channel a couple of months ago and I'm so glad I did. I just recently read this book and found it very enlightening. I hope you do too. Can't wait to hear your thoughts." I'm so touched. Thank you so much, Lily. That is so kind and I cannot wait to dive into this and just learn more. As I've said this whole vlog and the previous ones, I'm really interested in learning a lot more and furthering my own knowledge of things. So to expand my collection to be able to allow me to do that, again, I don't think I'm going to be tearing through non-fiction at the speed of light because I do prefer fiction, but I'm getting a collection that means I can dive into what I fancy and what I want to learn about. So thank you so much, Lily. You totally didn't have to do that, but I absolutely appreciate it so much. That has made my day. What a lovely surprise. Honestly, I don't think I've ever received anything randomly off my wish list like that before. That's just because I've got stuff off at Christmas and birthdays, but not just randomly like that, and that just completely made my day, made me smile so much. So thank you so much, Lily. And now we are met with the attempt at putting these on my shelf. So this is currently the shelf. Now I'm thinking I'm going to put Herland in here as well because whilst it is a fiction, it is something I've picked up because of the feminist side of it. So we've got various different books in here. It's not just purely dedicated to feminism, but it is my non-fiction area for like my paperback non-fictions, and then we've got these two. Now I'm thinking maybe I can just move that one and put that in a different room because that's the literature book versus the feminist book and they're not really related other than the fact they're by the same style. So maybe we'll do that. I'm gonna have a little rejig and I'll show you what I come up with. Okay, I think that I'm happy with this. I'm sad that I removed the literature book, but I just want this out there. Am I gonna get demonetized for this? I hope not. But yeah, I'm growing the collection. So there's the Germaine Greer book that I showed you earlier this week, and then we've got Hood Feminism, 100 Nasty Women of History. What else have we got? Living Dolls, which is really interesting, the return of sexism. Sophia, which is a biography of a princess suffragette revolutionary by Anita Anand, and this is basically her story throughout the revolution and as being a feminist, and yeah, covers all sorts of things like that. I think she's from India. Yes, she's Indian-born royalty, and it covers that story. Anyway, moving on to the next one. Then we've got Herland, which is, as I just showed you, the book that I just got, Mary Beard, Women in Power, and this is the little essay collection. Well, I think it's just the one essay that I'm hoping to read at the weekend. So there, be my feminist shelf, kind of, alongside history. We're going to deal with the fact that my lamp looks like a little halo above my head because I'm an angel. But hi, it's Saturday. I didn't really vlog my face yesterday, but I vlogged some rain and a walk. So I don't know if you saw that footage or not, but that's what happened yesterday. And I read a crap ton of The Mask Falling. I have got not long left of this at all, I will tell you. 78% of the way through. I've got an hour and 19 minutes left, apparently, according to my reading speed. I'm on page 393, and I'm enjoying it. Yeah, we've just had a bit of an action scene mixed with a slower, more intimate kind of scene, and I'm liking it. It's definitely got aspects of it that I find quite jumpy, but I think I found that with the rest of the series as well, and I think that also reflects the fact that Paige is kind of in and out of consciousness for parts of it, and that therefore makes the narrative jumpy because it's told from her perspective. But I am definitely liking it. It's probably my favourite one so far because it's faster paced in terms of the different things we've got going on, and there's different objectives rather than one big sole objective like the other ones seem to feature. So yeah, that's on its way to being finished. And I think at the moment it will probably come out as a 4-star. It's definitely not 5-star. It's just, I like the series, but I don't like the series enough for it to be a 5-star. So that's happening. I've got, how long have I got left on my audiobook? So I'm listening to Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race as an audiobook, and I'm on the final chapter, I think. Oh, no, not the final chapter. Okay, I'm on chapter 5, which is the feminism question, and I have got 29 minutes left of the audiobook for that. I'm listening to it sped up because I just find it, I can't, does anyone else find, like, because you listen to audiobooks sped up, you cannot listen to them any slower than what you normally tend to put them on? I just can't do it. Depending on the narrator, I'll set the speed slower or faster, but anything slower just doesn't grip me in the same way. I feel like this is going to be a pressing issue, is that we need quick, speedy information because of how quickly the internet can provide us with that. So yeah, so 29 minutes left of that. I'm finding it really interesting. The chapter I'm on at the moment is called The Feminist Question, which is very, very interesting indeed, and is making me very excited to read Hood Feminism, or not excited but interested to read Hood Feminism, which is talking about the feminists that white women are raised, or the white women forget in history, when you're looking back at feminism and how POC people come into play with feminism and how that is different from just white feminism. And it's really interesting listening to the audiobook and hearing the different, it's kind of like done as little case studies almost. So each chapter will focus on a specific topic. For example, that one's looking at feminism, and then there will be little stories / case studies told within that have kind of been taken from other essays by the author, and it's really interesting. I'm learning a lot from it, and it's kind of giving me lots of different tree branches to jump onto to look into other things as well. So definitely glad I picked that up, and yeah, I've got half an hour left, so I'll probably do a bit of cleaning later and listen to it then, because that gives me a good chunk of time to listen. But I also, yeah, really want to finish The Mask Falling. Those would be my 6th and 7th book of the week, I think, which would put me on 7 books read again, which I did the other week, and I don't know how. But I also have a short feminist essay that is on my shelf to read. And just because I like to push myself, I thought I'd try and go for 8 books read for the week. But also really, really quickly, because I want to do a whole video on this, so I don't want to get stuck into a complete discussion here that lasts for minutes and minutes and minutes. So I'll try and keep this short. But this morning I logged onto Twitter and I saw Zoe Sugg, who was formerly on YouTube known as the brand Zoella, but that is kind of separate from her now. Like, it's still something she runs and oversees, of course, but Zoella is now a website and channel that is dedicated more to 25 to 35-year-olds. That's their target audience. It talks about health and sex and very positive things, and just generally is very open about things. And that's Zoella, and Zoe Sugg is a human being. Not to be confused as her being named Zoella. That was just her channel name when she started off. So this morning on various different news articles, there are headlines saying stuff like AQA, which is the curriculum exam board that we have in some parts of the UK. AQA has decided to remove Zoe Sugg from its curriculum, except it keeps saying it's removing Zoella from its curriculum, because she has published an article about the best sex toys in 2021. Now, first off, she never gave them permission to be on the curriculum. She didn't know about this, she didn't get asked, it wasn't brought to her attention. Second, she didn't write that article, it was written by the team at Zoella. And third, the article is aimed at 25 to 35-year-olds, and these guys are saying, the news articles are saying it's aimed at teenagers. So aside from the fact the article is massively wrong and ill-researched and just stupid, the main thing that I quickly wanted to say is the fact that these articles are implying that teenagers shouldn't know about sex positive and the pleasures of sex information, and that they should just get the sex education of, like, this is safe sex, this is puberty, this is what your bodies are going to do. Something that someone said on their Instagram story was that boys are taught that they have wet dreams and they have to wear a condom, and girls are taught that they get periods and can get pregnant. And it's like, you get the notion of male masturbation. I feel like that is a lot more commonly talked about and referred to in many different types of education with things, I think, from what I remember, whereas female masturbation seems to be very much taboo, and these articles are just enforcing the fact that they're almost shaming the notion of female masturbation, but also the idea that young girls, and when I say young I mean like teenagers, that teenagers should know what female masturbation is and know that it's okay and not a bad thing. And that really bugs me, because I don't think I was fully comfortable understanding fully those kind of things until I was at university. Like, I knew of them and I knew a lot of stuff, I just didn't really understand it in the same way and understand like what it actually meant until I got to university, and I was surrounded by a lot of different types of people and lots of different types of information. And I remember we had an Ann Summers party when we were in our first year of uni, and they bring out all these outfits and sex toys and you like pass them around and you play games, and it was great fun, and I was suddenly like, my eyes have been opened. So that was really interesting. But it's the fact that these articles are out there saying that they're taking Zoella, Zoe Sugg, the brand, I don't even know what they're saying, they're taking the brand or her off the curriculum, and they're doing that because of this article. It's just like, why is this a bad article? Like, this is promoting sex positivity. Why are we still saying sex positivity is a taboo thing that shouldn't be talked about positively? It seems to be okay to say that boys can masturbate when you're in sex education, but as soon as it's talked about girls masturbating, no. Now, I've asked my friend who's a teacher, and she said they very much try and approach it on a gender-neutral basis, so they just say masturbation as a whole. But I would be interested to sit in and see how that actually talks about the pleasure side of doing things, rather than just, this is a thing that some people do, and actually making it okay for younger people to be interested in that kind of thing. Because the thing is, what I think everything's ignoring is, as a teenager, you are going to want to learn about that kind of thing. You're going to be interested. I'm not saying everyone is, and I know this doesn't account for everyone, but generally some people might be interested in it. And the fact that they're not getting the proper resources and almost getting those resources blanked to them is not going to allow them to get the proper information. Therefore, they're either going to get the wrong information and not be as safe, or they will struggle to try and find the information at all and just not know anything until they get to an older point where they feel like they can get the correct information and ask the right people. And it just annoys me. I don't know. I wanted it to be like a 2-minute rant, and I think it's like a 4-minute rant, but I feel like it needs a whole video of talking about sex positivity and the idea that we can't just talk openly on honesty without it still being a taboo, and the fact that the people that think it's a taboo are going to have children that they won't talk about it with, because to them it'll be a taboo, and then they'll have children. It'll just be a vicious cycle of loads of people being taboo with things. I've spoken in another video recently that you guys won't have seen yet about what we call our genitals and the proper words to use for things versus silly words such as a mini or a hoo-ha instead of vulva or vagina, and the idea that those words are being shunned almost as, or like it's rude if you say those words, or dirty. And I'm like, what? Why are we using the word rude to refer to our genitals as? Like, it's not rude to say the word vagina or vulva or penis. It's not dirty or rude. Okay, it's a whole other topic, but those are my quick thoughts. So yeah, let's get on with some reading. We're walking and talking. I just finished Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Rennie Edo Lodge, and I thought it was very powerful, and the message at the end hammered home what she was saying the whole way through of like, do something, and doing something is better than doing nothing. If you, no matter who you are, if you're able to do something to help people that are being treated unfairly and unjustly, then that is enough, the fact that you're doing something. And I think that was a really poignant message that the whole book was delivering in different ways in the different essays that were included, and I thought it was really informative. I don't know, can anyone else let me know in the comments if you rate non-fiction? Because I don't, and I feel weird about it, because like, particularly, not that that was an autobiography, but when you're rating autobiographies it seems weird, like you're rating that person's life, but generally I just don't rate them. I just kind of pop them in call pile and leave the ratings part open and just don't rate them on Goodreads. But I don't know if I should be rating them or not, because it just seems weird. I don't know, because you like when you rate on call pile, it's characters and atmosphere and things. Obviously it's based on fiction, not non-fiction. Whereas for me, I think when different people reading different bits of fiction, people will read them for academic purposes, people read them to inform themselves, people read them to inform other people, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, I suppose people are reading fiction in all different ways as well. But personally, I find them difficult to rate. It feels like I'm rating them for the wrong reasons. Like, if I don't know, I don't know. I don't know. As a book reviewer, I review fiction. I read non-fiction because I want to learn more and educate myself. I don't know. Can you let me know in the comments what you think? Because I know that rating it is obviously going to help more people and encourage more people to buy it. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's because I rate everything with Corpal and I rely on that to like give me my 5-star, 4-star, 3-star ratings. So I don't know how I would function in my brain because I've been using Corpal for over a year now. Anyway, so that's one book done. I've got just under an hour left of The Mask Falling. Now I think I'm gonna have a call with Lauren and do some cleaning, so I shall be out of action on the book front for a little bit. I really don't know what I've made here, but I made a cocktail. It looks bubbly, but it's not bubbles, it's ice. So I managed to crush the ice in my blender. I got a different type of ice. And it's kind of a Sets on the Beach, but without the vodka and the schnapps and with gin. Because I don't have vodka or schnapps, I have gin. So I made this for my live with Lauren that I'm doing very soon. I finished The Mask Falling, which is book 7 of the week. I'm gonna finish another book. I'm gonna finish one after the live and I'm gonna update you on it. The Mask Falling was really, really good. It ended sooner than I expected because the last bit was glossary for like a lot of pages, so that was a surprise. I am intrigued to see where it goes. At times it felt like it was falling into a little bit of a typical plot line and it felt like it was just constant peril for Paige and I just felt a bit like, but ultimately I did really like it. It was really good. I gave it 4 stars. And I'm going to read one more book before the end of the day. It's going to happen, mark my words. It's going to be a short essay-based book, but it's going to happen. So I'll catch up with you later after the live. Okay, wrapping up the vlog time. I have finished my 8th book. What? So the 8th book I finished. I need to look further into this, but I've looked a little bit into it already. But basically I started it before the live and then said what I was reading on the live. And someone pointed out to me that, I believe the comment was something like, they were saying just to let me know that this author was somebody that supported J.K. Rowling. Obviously last year there was a lot of horrible stuff happening with J.K. Rowling and transphobia. And yeah, they said the author that wrote this book that I was reading had supported her. They didn't say anything more than that, but they just wanted to let me know, so I didn't know anything about that. I've since looked into it and I can see that, yeah, she responded to the essay that J.K. Rowling released. I did not know that when I picked up this book. I didn't know it when I started it or when I bought this book. I have finished it. It's a very short essay, but this is the book I'm talking about. So it's We Should All Be Feminists, and the author is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. It's very tiny, and it was just basically talking about, well, it's a feminist essay, and talking about the experiences the author has had. She's from Nigeria and talking about that kind of cultural and society background. It was really interesting. It was a quick read. It was literally, I think it's like 47 pages it was. Yeah, 47 pages. So yeah, wasn't sure what to do with that book, I'll be honest, but I did decide to finish it, but also just to be aware of that going into it, and I suppose to be able to share it as well with you guys, just so you are aware of that too, because it wasn't something I knew going in, so now we all know. As far as a feminist text went, though, it was quite short, so obviously it didn't have as much time to go into as much as things as like Mary Beard's Women in Power did, for example, but I did find it really interesting, and obviously the fact that it was talking about the background of the author coming from Nigeria, that was a different type of culture and therefore a different type of feminism. And again, I suppose from the fact that when I was reading Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race, and they were talking about white feminism and the fact that that isn't as inclusive and things, it's that kind of thing that I think is the message that we need to keep in mind when we're talking about feminism, and is not just to single it out as white feminism, because that is not feminism, that's just being narrow-minded about it. So yes, I hope this all makes sense and I'm not just mumbling. In conclusion, I have read 8 books this week. I don't know how. I think I've read 19 this month. So that's insane, and I don't know how that's happened. Those books are, hang on, I'm going to have to go through my core pile because I don't know off the top of my head anymore what books I read in which week. It's becoming a bit of a blur. I really did not set out to read this many books. So this week I finished Wonderland by Juno Dawson, Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron, Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Osman, A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas, Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Renee Edo-Lodge, and The Mask Falling by Samantha Shannon, and then this one here, which is We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. So that's been my week. It's been a pretty good one. The live was really good as well, and I'm feeling good. It was fun. So yeah. Thanks for coming along on this magical journey with me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed 8 weeks. 8 weeks? Oh my god, see, I'm tired. I hope you enjoyed 8 books. I think what I'm going to start now is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, which is coming out as a movie soon, so I have to read this. But we've decided to do like a little 24-hour readathon tomorrow somehow, or like just basically finish the books that we were reading. Given that I'm not reading one, I'm going to start one. So that's that. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below what you've been reading or anything at all, and you can subscribe to see more of my face on your feed. Thanks so much guys, keep smiling and stay positive.